I did my MBA like way back in 2003. I passed out from XLRI, and so now it has been like what 23 years. And when Hemendra sir asked me to do this session, I actually went back to my college and I was just thinking that how was I preparing for the placements. So like butterfly is already there in the stomach for all of you. Say yes, say no.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Very good. Because that's the first step of placement. So once you start getting the butterflies, then the placement season is arriving. So, right. So like butterflies, we started with that. And then what else do we start off with? When you think of placements, what's the first thought that comes to your mind? Everybody can write, and feel free to switch on the camera, but be on mute, because if too many people talk, then it's hard to concentrate. Oh, hi, Pepper. Yeah, Pepper also says hi to everyone. Compensation. No, competition. Okay, I thought the first word would be compensation. No, placement. Okay, what else? What else comes to the mind? Where to appear, right? Then whether we'll get job. Yeah, that's the first one. Whether we'll get the job or not. Right. Opportunities and career line. Okay, so kids are thinking about it. Rigorous grinding interviews. Arey Baba, it's not all that grinding. Let me start off with that. Okay. And what else? Opportunity. Facing interviews. Job profile. बहुत मुश्किल है ना? It's like too many things coming to your mind when you are thinking of the first job. How many of you have, I'm sure, like as part of the curriculum, you all would have taken up internship assignments, like went to different companies, right? So you guys already know how companies look like. And therefore, you all know that people who work in companies are people like you. They are not the people with two horns or a unicorn, correct? So that's the first thing first. So when we think of companies, when we think of placement, remember you guys are going to interact with people. I am experienced, Ravi tells us. Great, right? So it's people. These are companies, these are people. Now, important thing is that what are we doing to get ready to work in those companies, isn't it? है ना? आर्टिकलशिप ट्रेनिंग तो बहुत सारी कर ली थी आप लोगों ने. उसमें काम तो ज्यादा कुछ किसी ने किया नहीं होगा. किया था कि नहीं किया था? सचिन?
मैम किया था.
किया था? शिवानी has worked a lot. She is the first one to tell. हाँ? और कौन है जिसने किया था? अच्छा, सबने किया था. Which is
yes,
good.
Ma'am did.
Which is good, which is really nice. All right. So we'll do today one thing. So it's, you guys know your course. Obviously, first of all, congratulations to all of you on clearing, one of the toughest exams which are there, one of the toughest professional courses. So great, now you guys are ready to apply in different companies. All right. So today what we are going to do is, remember the first golden principle, right? Clearing your final exams get you ready for placement, or rather it makes you qualified for placement, right? But what really gets you through the road, right? What will really make you cross this whole thing about placement is your readiness for that. And that is little bit more than the professional course that you guys have done. All right. So yes, what you have read, what you have done in your internship, everything comes in very, very handy when you prepare for the final placement. But preparing for the final placement is little bit extra effort. All right. So how many of you have already started preparing for the final placement? Because I was checking with your sir and he informed me saying that, it just starts in a month from now, etc. Right. So how many of you have started preparing for it? And when I say preparing, obviously I'll be asking, what are you preparing? Like boys getting haircut, getting like a suit staged, looking all dapper for the day. That is not preparation. All right. So when we say getting started for the preparation, with the preparation, just tell me 5 things that you have done so far. I'm working on soft skills. Shashank tells us. All right. Then started on. Arey on mein kiya kya? Tell me about that. Getting the job profiles. Okay. Advanced Excel. Very smart.
SQL, ma'am.
SQL. Very good. CV. Absolutely the first point. Yeah. On communication, presentation techniques. Wonderful. So you guys have your job cut out and you guys seem to be very aware. That's what I like about this new generation. We guys were not so aware when we started off. Right? Most of us would think about placements, will think about preparing for those interviews and the placement, sessions. when the shortlisting has happened, isn't it? We send the CV, we get a shortlist, and then we say, "Acha, chalo, now let's just figure out about this company. Now let me start thinking how I want to approach it." But remember, the first golden principle is your preparation starts today. All right, it actually started the day you signed up for this program, did all the studies, did all the internship, but your like the holy grail of getting placed, that preparation has to start like right away, not waiting for shortlist to happen, not waiting for to know which companies will come, how I can go out and apply. Before that, you have to be prepared for the process. That's the most important thing. So on that high note, what I'll do is that, like, I thought presentation to hona chahiye. I can walk through the entire session, but when there's presentation, everybody believes that you are ready with it. The way a recruiter wants to believe that you guys are ready for it. So you guys prepare what? CV, isn't it? So same way what I have done is that I have prepared a presentation, and we will use that as the basic one, right? Like, so let's see, what do we want to share? Okay, all right. Oh, it says you can't share the screen. So let me just share the presentation then. I know. All right. Sorry, I'm unable to share. Now what do I do? Anyone? Any suggestions?
Ma'am, maybe the rights of the participants have been restricted.
Okay. So who will solve for this problem?
So the host of the meeting, Himash, so maybe.
Ayush tells me that I need some permission to present.
Yes, ma'am.
Will host give me the presentation rights, please?
Yes, I have given the permission. Will approve permission. Just give few seconds. Just give. Now I ask question to everyone: how to give a permission? Because today is Sunday, I am not technically so sound, and my team is at home. So let me ask with other people. I am busy in admitting people. Now Aman is sending a request. Ma'am, you just start the session. I just give me a few minutes. I will ask and then we will go.
You know what? We really don't need the presentation per se. It is just to keep the audience engaged. All right. But I think I'll do a brilliant job even without the presentation. All right. So let's just get started.
You are already okay.
Okay. Thanks for the kind words. All right. So now the journey. Now remember, keep the objective in mind. It's not about cracking an interview and getting a job. Minute you keep that as like saying, this is what I'm come here for, I think you've got it all wrong. Now remember, what you are starting from today is not getting ready for an interview. It's about becoming a corporate professional. All right. So you're already a qualified CMA, and now this whole journey and like the whole discussion today is about how do you become a corporate professional. All right. Now remember three things, golden principles of how you get ready for it. All right. First thing is, so far our focus was on academics. We all wanted to excel in the academics. Hopefully, I'm just assuming that people who are like kind enough to come on a Sunday to attend a session would have been like very sincere about their studies in past few years, right? Now you're shifting gears now, right? You're shifting gears from academic excellence to corporate readiness. That's point number one. And that's how we will approach this session. All right. Point number two, people said, right, I'm prepared, I'm working on my presentation skills, etc., which is great because remember, it's all about translating your knowledge to the presentation. I might be knowing a lot of things. The question is, how do I come across and how do I communicate it to the person who's here talking to me about my career? All right. So that is the second important thing, what we have to be ready for. So becoming a corporate professional, translating our knowledge into the presentation, right? The communication, how would it come through? Preparing for that. That is important because trust me, in your corporate life, that's precisely what you're doing every single day. So why your placement process would not be a reflection of that. So be ready to present yourself. And when I say present yourself, we will go back and debunk some of those myths. It means great English. It means I'm looking so dapper on the day of interview, etc. It's not that. It's about what you are communicating, how you are communicating, how objective and how authentic you are in your communication when you are communicating with people. And then we will walk through the 5 recruitment filters, right? What are those 5 recruitment filters? Everybody knows. As like companies have different versions of it. Somebody will do all 5 things, somebody will do 3 things, but there are 5 recruitment filters. And like nothing better to start off with that. Everyone knows those 5 filters. What are those? First one, CV, get your resume right. Correct? The second one, if companies opt for it, because a whole lot of people are applying, companies will use filters like aptitude test or the written technical test, etc. That's your second filter. The third filter, which whole lot of companies use these days, is the group discussion, right? The fourth, the holy grail, is the technical interview. And the fifth one, agar ye sab मरते गिरते करके पहुंच गए, then the fifth filter, which is the HR round, which people call out as the most vague round of the entire process, but we will learn to handle that as well. So yeah, so the idea is we learn to master these 5 recruitment filters, because you're going to apply for multiple companies and each one will have a variant and a subset, or like, you know, all these 5 filters together. Who knows how lucky you get. All right, so we will start the session believing that it's all about converting our academic excellence into corporate readiness and being ready to present ourselves to these recruiters out there. All right, ready for it, Vedangi? So pani wani pee ke, she's like, I am not fully charged. ORS bhi pee le thoda sa. All right.
I've
Okay.
given the make you a co-host. Now you can give up.
Okay, let's see if that works. No, it's still not working. Somehow. Okay. Who knows? Maybe I don't have the PPT. Isn't it? Okay, I'll try doing something, which is like I'll put it on Drive and then try to share. Let's see if that works. But are we clear about the objective of the session? शुरू करेंगे हम? शाबाश रोहित. Rohit says yes, you can get started. अब बाकी संडे में और भी तो बहुत कुछ है करने को. So let's just make good use of this time. So first thing first, all right, before the process, as I said, process is the day when it really happens. Process is the day when you go out and meet those people from Mars and Saturn who have come to so-called interview you. But as I called out and I said, you know, this 1 month is the time to prepare. All right. Now, how do I prepare? How do I prepare for something which is a first for me in life? In that sense, right? Like, you know, I'm trying to get a professional job. I say everything in life, whether it is a job, it is marriage, any relationship, starts with one simple thing, which is called knowing yourself. All right. So know yourself. I think that's the most important thing. We know things in our life, technical stuff, but start with basics. Know yourself. Imagine knowing yourself for me is like simple questions. Why this program? Why did you decide to become a CMA? All right, that's like a very basic question. I need to know why I picked up this particular course. What excites me about this course? I need to know myself as a person. What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? And everybody is Googling and saying, Acha, interview mein, what do they like to hear? Nobody likes to hear anything. People like to see you. People like to know you. All right. So for me to know you, you need to know yourself. So know what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? And no man is perfect. So are the females, sorry, but yeah, they are also not perfect. So which means we all have weaknesses and no harm in admitting them. I like those people who in the interview would say, oh, you know what, because I have thought through, I have to call out a weakness which sounds like a strength. You know, I am so committed that I work on weekends as well, so my family suffers. Oh, please give me a break. All right. So genuinely, what are my weaknesses? I need to tell that. I can share it with people because people are here to experience you. Remember that. And for them to experience you, know yourself. So get answers, think about yourself, my strength, my weaknesses, what is my career vision? Like, you know, why am like, my career vision is simple. I remember my career vision was simple to be in Bangalore because my then boyfriend and current husband was in Bangalore. It could be as simple as that. And trust me on that, I told that to the company which hired me. They said, why do you want to join me? I said, yeah, because you guarantee a placement in Bangalore and my boyfriend is in Bangalore. It was as simple as that. And I still got the job. Trust me on that. All right. So be honest. That's the whole idea. So know yourself, know your strengths, know your weaknesses, and then go out and share it with the world. Just share it with confidence. That's all that it takes. All right. So prepare answers for basic questions like why CMA? What is my career vision? what are my strengths, what are my weaknesses, because remember, every conversation starts with that, and you as a human come across in all those conversations, right? So that's first thing, know about yourself. Second thing, which is like little more boring, but which is like know the company and know the role, as in know what you are signing up for. I've seen people walking in for interviews for a company not knowing anything about the place. Like confidence is great, overconfidence is bad, and under preparation is surely bad, right? So like as boring as it is, read about the companies that you're applying for, and I'm sure like whole lot of companies come, you go out and apply to companies. Like pick out the companies which you really are interested in, right? Like I said, my shortlisting criteria in campus was companies which will give placement in Bangalore. Very stupid. Let me tell you, nobody should use those kind of filters, but your filters shall be clear, isn't it? So know the kind of companies. Don't get desperate. Okay, jo bhi aa rahi hai, no, let me just go and sit for that. Yeah, it's a great idea for initial 3 to 5 companies because you get a practice, as people call it. All right, but be aware, as in like, because you guys are more aware these days. You guys know that you can get placed in GCCs, in large audit firms, you can get into MNCs, and each company is very, very different, right? Each sector of business is very, very different. So which sector would you want to go for and why? Right? Because there are certain roles which comes with certain sectors. Somebody is great with Excel, and so you know what, analytics is my strength area, and therefore probably like IT and GCC setups make far more sense for you. Right? There are people who are very, very, very strong with the core pieces, like, and they would want to go in more like, say, for example, in your case, a more manufacturing kind of setup. Know your strengths. And when I say strengths, it means not how much of CGPI you got in each of those subjects, what grades you got, but more like which are the areas of your course which really interest you, and which are the industries which will match that, right? Because everybody comes with a different strength. So know your strength. That's what I meant by saying know yourself, know your strengths, know the kind of companies with which there would be a match, right? And then focus on those companies. Don't try to prepare for everybody in the world, right? Because then you are ready for nobody in the world. So pick up what you are really interested in and prepare yourself around that. So pick up the sectors, pick up the kind of roles, figure out which are the companies which offer those kind of roles, read more about those companies, understand more about those roles. That's called knowing the company, knowing the role, right? Obviously know about the compensation also, but don't start off with knowing only the compensation, which most of the people do. No harm in that, but yeah, keep that as just a criteria, not the only criteria. Sure about it? Now, third thing, important thing, know the word. All right. And when I say know the word, what it means. All these years you were busy reading about CMA, the courses which are there, audit pad liya, ye pad liya, wo pad liya. But there's just so much happening in the world. And when people come and meet you, they want to meet a rounded person. Who's a rounded person? A rounded person is the one who knows about himself, herself, who knows about obviously the technicalities of the job for which they are applying. They know what is happening around them, and they have a view about what is happening around them. Let's take case in point. Let's take like what is currently happening. Everybody's reading about Iran war, isn't it? US attacking Iran and goes on forever, and then, okay, great, it's news. Everyone knows the news. What it means, okay? Because remember, the conversations are not about who attacked whom. That is what we were asked in the GK quiz in our maybe 8th standard, right? Now today, when somebody is talking with you, they want to know, what do you think about it? What do you think are the underlying reasons why US did what it did? More importantly, they'll come back and ask you, so what do you think as a professional? What is the impact on business with a global event like that? Are you ready for those conversations? And that's what I call being ready. All right, it's not just knowing about audit and knowing all the software tools which you have learned. Great, that is a basic that you have to know. But what is also important to know that what is happening around you, because that makes you a more aware person for others. All right, so we need to know what is happening around us, and we need to have a view. Remember, facts and views. Facts is what you read, views are what you create. And people are interested in your views because facts are known to everyone. Yeah, don't make the mistake of giving wrong facts, but more importantly, have views around things, right? And I'll give you very important, like, everybody's talking about AI, right? How AI is reshaping finance, how it is reshaping audit. No, those are very, very basic questions, which with your professional background, the recruiter would be interested in knowing, all right? That how would you utilize AI to your advantage instead of becoming redundant by it? That's a very basic question that you should be prepared for, right? Now, there's a whole lot of you guys are youngsters in this whole Gen Z movement around protest and saying paper leakage and government should be held accountable and whatnot. What's your view about it? isn't it? So be prepared. So when I say know yourself, know the companies, know the world, and have view about the world, because we are all living in that world. And everybody likes to have people who have views and who can express those views very clearly and concisely. All right. So know about the world. That's not you will typically hear, but trust me, those are the conversations which really take you places during these discussions. And I call them discussions, not the interviews. All right. Interviews are boring. Discussions are energizing. They're interesting. So people like to have discussions, not interviews. So know about geopolitics, know about technology, know about society, right? And stop using chat GPT and like Grok, etc. to form those views. Have your own views. You can use those tools to get facts, but views are what you create for yourself. All right. And most important thing before that real process, get ready in advance, which is what you guys started telling me, right? Saying, oh, you know what, I started learning the Excel, I have started doing BI, I am working on my communication skills, etc. That's called the real prep. All right. So that is what you have to start doing. Be prepared in advance. That's what it takes. Don't wait for that last minute after shortlist. Let me think, because then you will be doing crisis management, isn't it? You won't be doing a strategic readiness for yourself in terms of cracking those interviews. So do that now, because remember, 90% of the processes across those companies are going to be the same, isn't it? Again, everybody is going to come and ask you, tell me something about yourself. Now, I need not wait for a short list to start thinking about it. And I need to prepare now. So do some staple preparation now, which will come in handy in the last 2 days after the shortlist and before the companies really start having the interactions with you. All right. Clear about it? Now, who's going to tell me, because there's no PPT, so let's see what is the retention. I said 5 things you need to do as a preparation. What are those 5 things? Start writing. Let me see if this group is active or not. Views. Ravi says views. What else did I talk about? I said total 5 things. What you need to do. Prepare resume first. Iska dimag to resume mein laga hua hai. Know the word. Absolutely right. Okay. Okay. Knowing yourself, and why did you decide to become a CMA? Okay, great. Yes. Know about the word. Know yourself. Correct. That was the first thing I said. Know yourself. Second thing I said was know the companies and the landscape. Third thing I told you was know the word. Isn't it? Fourth thing I said was start preparing in advance. Okay. And the fifth thing I said was, as in wo sabse pehle bola tha, 5 filters, isn't it? So preparation is for those 5 filters, right? And now we will jump into those 5 filters and say, how do we get ready for each of those filters, isn't it? So first thing first, let's start with getting ready in advance. Start thinking the self-introduction, because I said the holy mother of all questions is, tell me something about yourself. And people are really interested in knowing you, but no one is interested in giving you more than 60 seconds, right, to find that interesting thing about you. So prepare for your self-introduction, because in most of the rounds, that is the question which is going to get asked, and prepare a very crisp and confident intro about yourself. And when I say what an intro entails, it broadly is about your past, which is more to do with your academics, your present, which is more to do with your internship, what you have picked up. And then it is about the future, yani your career goals. So when somebody says, tell me about yourself, please do not start off with saying I was born in Lucknow and then, like, while my growing years, I went to this school. Nobody's interested. All right. What people are interested in knowing is, hey, you know what? I'm Shilpi. After my 12th or graduation, whichever been your before CMA qualification, how you did in academics there, which is like, if it is not worth talking, don't talk about it. But like saying why I picked up CMA, right? And what my internship taught me. And as I get into my professional phase, what do I really want to build for myself in terms of a career, right? My strength areas. And when I say strength here, more around to say like I'm interested in audit, like financial accounting. What is it that you really want to do? So that is your 1-minute intro that you guys have to prepare. All right, start preparing. And I'm telling you, it really helps if you are like rehearsing it in front of the mirror or with a friend. Do that, because remember one thing, that first conversation creates the first impression. All right, everybody wants to see a confident person sitting in the room, a person who's clear what is there in their head. So therefore, get that clarity on a piece of paper in a structured fashion, write it down, and then rehearse it. That's the most important thing, because that's invariably the first question that you are going to face even in your technical interview. All right, because the idea of that question is A, to judge the personality, and B, more important, to make a person at ease, right? And nothing great than a great opening for yourself. So prepare this. Self-introduction, that's the key. All right, obviously you guys have studied hard, got all those grades, but time to brush up all your core concepts, right? Get through with all your taxation and like costing fundamentals and everything. This is the time, because people will start off with that. And remember, it starts in a very nice way about saying, acha, which was your favorite paper? And you will smart people will say obviously which is their strength paper, and then they start digging deep into that. All right, remember, when they are digging deep, they are not going to dig deep and ask you the simple definition or what are the 5 principles of this one. They are going to ask for application. All right. So when I say be prepared for it, be prepared with the theory and the application of it, because that is what is going to get asked. All right. Tool proficiency. Like in today's world, everybody expects that when even you are a fresher, they expect when you walk into the organization, you will have the practical skills in using computer, advanced Excel and BI tools. For your job, it's like a must. All right. So pick up the basics of that if not done already. And then do a lot of mock practice. Like with this 1 month, this is all about the self-discovery, discovering the organization, discovering the process, and then doing practice around that. All right. So this is the time. 1 month will just go like this. If you're really investing in doing things which I just called out, which are 4: prepare self-introduction, get your core concepts right, build the tool proficiency, which is a software skills proficiency, and do a lot of mock practice. All right. All those things that you see on LinkedIn now, saying 40 Excel shortcuts, all that is going to come in handy. Trust me on that. And people will give you a laptop, turn it around and say, okay, this is the data. Can you do something with that? So like, your discussions, your conversations are going to be like that, not about just asking theory, which your teachers would ask, but abhi recruiter hi nahi puchega. They'll ask, they'll give you a data set and say, what can you make out of it? All right. In a GD, they are going to give you a case slide and ask you to interpret it, etc. So get into that zone, get into that rhythm, and therefore do the mock practice around that. Clear about it? Yeah, clear ho gaya na? Now this is all before the D-Day. है ना? कि ये तो कर लेना है, बस prepare हो जाओ. All right. Now we will deep dive into each of those 5 recruitment filters that we called out. सबसे पहला क्या था? Resume. Somebody called out, CV बना रहा हूँ मैं. Right? And these days when people generally say कि मैं CV बना रहा हूँ, they mean, oh, I have put it in chat GPT and said, मेरा CV बना दो. Trust me on that. वो सबका एक सा ही बनाता है. And trust me on that. Every recruiter knows this CV has been generated by AI. ठीक है? So because you guys are going to appear first time, they do it for a living. All right. So it's very easy for a recruiter to figure out कि boss इसने अपना दिमाग लगा के भी CV बनाया, or like you have given it to chat GPT and then he has created it for you. All right. So bring your personality in your CV. AI tools are great. They are great in terms of enhancing your CV. All right. They're not great in terms of getting the basics of your CV. That's you. And ChatGPT doesn't know you, right? You know yourself. So give the first shot, first get your CV right. And that first thought has to come from you. CV preparation is an art, and I'm sure all of you would have done hajar research about it on Google and everywhere, which is like, start with crisp 2-3 sentences. Nobody is interested in reading a lot these days, right? You guys' attention span is very less. Trust me, recruiters are same. Nobody's interested. 1 pager is max, right? Like 2-3 lines, which is like calls out very clearly what you are. That's like important, right? Focus on important things. Don't write internship as a business. I did internship in this place. Now remember, for you to talk about, what do you have to talk about if you don't have a prior work experience? Your internships. All right. What you learned in those internships. Now that takes the larger portion of your CV. That should be taking the larger portion of your CV. All right. So write about the projects that you did, and more importantly, the deliverables in those projects. Don't write, I used to prepare daily report. I mean, yeah, which is great, right? It has to be deliverable, which is like what efficiency, 0 error, you created a new report template. What exactly did you do in the internship? What was the productive outcome of that internship is what people are interested in knowing. Because everybody knows in internship, these are the 5 activities that I do. So activities everybody knows. Outcome is what you have seen for yourself, and that outcome has to come through in your profile. Clear? आ गया समझ में? Quantify, as Negi ji says. Correct. Now remember, resume preparation is an art. Okay? Make it crisp, make it sharp, make it very, very focused. Show measurable achievements from your articleship. That's like the most important piece. Okay? And for heaven's sake, write only those things which you really know. Like people know, acha, 5 tools hote hain, like, BI tools mein, acha, this is also there. Oh, Oracle ka float also I know. Knowing the names does not mean it qualifies to get in your CV. All right? You need to be knowing the tools, because trust me on that, if you write it on your CV, you are going to face questions around those things. So write in the CV what you want to get questioned on, and what you want to get questioned on is simple, what you know best, isn't it? So therefore, like, create the CV in a way that your strengths are coming through that. It's an interesting thing, because when I read it, I'll say, oh, okay, right. Anamika says that she is good with advanced Excel. Now that's where I pick it up. And then in my chat with Anamika, I'm going to deep dive into that. Right? So I'll ask her saying, okay, what are the shortcuts that you have used? Which one do you think comes in most handy? Right? Which are the top 5 that you have used during your articleship, etc. Those are the conversations. So therefore, to start the right conversation, write the right things on your profile. Clear about it? And remember the holy principle, first write your CV, then give it to ChatGPT or Grok or whichever AI tool you're using to add to it, like, to make it grammatically correct, to make the English right, but not to write a generic CV for you. Because like companies these days, Surprise use tool, which actually filters out and says which are the CVs which have been generated by AI. All right. So yeah, so keep that in mind and give it that kind of respect, because for a simple thing, remember one thing, you might think you know a lot, right? So when I go to the technical interview, I'll just crack it. But you need to reach that point, and the first step is CV, because through your CV, through your resume, you are getting shortlisted for the process, isn't it? So every step of the process needs to be given that kind of importance. Yes, you can definitely add finance skills. As I said, whatever you have learned outside of Bollywood quiz, go ahead and write it in your profile, because you never know what catches the attention of the person who's reading the CV, all in the professional domain. All right. So yeah, so like anything new that you have picked up, it might not be part of your course curriculum. It could be something else. All right. Make a note of that. Ensure that your CV is well-rounded. It talks about your strengths. Okay. It's okay if you don't, Nikhil, if you don't have any experience on such skills, as long as you know the skills, because trust me, companies know what a fresher walks in with. So nobody is expecting sun, moon, or earth from you guys. Remember, companies are expecting very basic things. Good aptitude, right? Confidence, communication skills, and right attitude. You have these 4 things, your life is sorted. Actually, these are the only 4 things that any company looks for, and different processes are only trying to ascertain you on these 4 parameters. Aptitude here is your technical skills, right? Skills, not the applied things, because you really didn't get a chance to apply them all. But do you know that knowledge is really important, right? Your attitude is the most important thing. Your communication skills and your confidence, because if you have those things, obviously that is what will sail you through. Baki to after 5 years, you won't even remember all the subjects that you studied in this program, right? Because those are practical things. You keep on learning, and keep on learning, right? But important thing is that these skills. So those skills are very important, and those things need to come through in the process. So your confidence, your communication skills, both written and verbal, your attitude and your aptitude. Clear? And the CV is a reflection of that. All right. But don't write all those gimmicky standard sentence. I'm a very hardworking, sincere professional. Okay. Like, am I interested? Do I really, can I judge you on that? No. So nobody's interested in reading that, right? But yes, like I am a qualified CMA professional who comes with these skills, right? Now that is important. So when I said 2-3 line ka summary, that's what it should call out. It should get that focus. It should not get the general English about all those adjectives which are there. Clear? So that's about the CV. Start working on the CV. I'm sure you already would have, like as part of the process itself, but make it your own. Own your CV. Remember that. All right. Because every word that goes in over there is the foundation of all the conversations that are going to happen in the placement process. All right. Now, recruiters will always play buzzword bingo with resume. Remember that. Huh? Dynamic, synergy, as I was calling out, buzzword. Don't use them for heaven's sake. Okay. because recruiters read it and they forget it. And minute you read it, they start laughing and say, "Acha, iska ho gaya, aage badho." So, as I said, make it authentic, make it real, make it your own. Then you go to the second step, which is your all these aptitude and technical tests. I think roughly 50% of the companies use that, right? 50% of the companies will ask you to take an online aptitude test or an online, technical test for your domain area. Companies do that. Remember, it's very simple. It's a funnel, right? It's the entire recruitment process for a recruiter is what? It's an inverted pyramid. It's a funnel. So I start with 500 kids applying. And I have to keep on shortlisting because every company is looking for a limited set of people, right? So when I get a whole lot of people and I have to arrive at those 5 people in a limited amount of time, every step of the process is what? It's a filtering criteria, isn't it? So CV is the first filter. Then if there are too many people applying and companies want to save time, they do the second step, which is what? Aptitude test and technical test. What is aptitude test? All these data interpretation, all these online tests. Remember, companies, when I said know about the company, know about each company's process also. And now though with internet, everything is available, right? So you get to know what is the difficulty level of the aptitude test that they use. You get those papers also online. So companies use that. 50% of the companies still use your aptitude test and the technical test, right? Which is nothing but a test of your knowledge and a test of your speed, isn't it? You have to solve those questions. Most importantly, if there are negative marking, it's also a check on your smartness. Negative marks just take you down, right? So know about first thing, any of these written tests you appear for, remember to check whether there's any negative marking or not. Negative nahi hai, play inky minky biny mo, all that you want to do. But if there's a negative marking, select your questions very carefully. In doubt, leave the question, etc. All right. But remember, that's a very important filtering criteria because after your CGPI, they really want to test. It is more an IQ test. All right. So companies do ask for it. Best way to do is take up a couple of those mock tests online just to build familiarity and speed on those tests. All right. Always check on the negative marking rules first and time box each section, because when you get all these aptitude tests, it's not like a general 50 question mil gaya. They are in sections like analytical, data interpretation, business interpretation, and whatnot, etc. Right. Read a paper, allocate time, and just ensure that you are handling your strength areas first. All right. So somebody great in English and numbers, etc. You will go out and do those sections first, and then maybe general knowledge is maybe not my main forte, so I will leave it for the last, etc. All right. If there's no negative marking, last mein, even if you don't know the answer, give it a shot. And the right way of doing it, just select A or B or C or D, which is your favorite, for all the questions that are unknown to you. Those are typical multiple choice questions. Companies nowadays also use a lot of time case studies, all right, where they will send out the case study to the kids, and then they will say, hey, basis this case study, there are certain questions, which is prepare a business plan around that, or give a solution for this problem. For example, a manufacturing company will give it out saying, hey, this has been the data of 5 years, this is how the number has changed, and therefore in your specific area, they'll ask you to prepare some data around that. All right. So they can ask you to do that as well. Remember, in most of the cases, there's no right or wrong. It's more the approach that they are checking from your side. With what approach are you solving that case? All right. But there are multiple variants of these written tests if companies are using it. Okay. So for each of the companies that you're applying for, figure out in the process. Therefore, knowing the process is very important. I'm very keen at, say, for example, Deloitte. I need to know exactly what Deloitte complete process is. All right. The world is very connected. You can always reach out to a couple of your seniors who are already there and learn from them, because they'll tell you what really happens. And more often than not, typically 3-year senior is the one who's coming and doing the first round of technical interview also. That's what companies typically do, because they are more abreast with the campus and with the kids, etc. So reach out to people, right? And therefore I was calling out, don't sit there and waiting things to happen to you. Make things happen to you. All right. Pick up the companies, go research about those companies, figure out their recruitment process, and prepare yourself for that process. Don't float with it. That's important. And therefore, pick up those 5, 7, 10 companies which you are really keen at. I mean, yeah, you may or may not get into that. That's immaterial. Important thing is that anchors you to prepare for the process. Clear? So do that. So this aptitude test, simple thing is just figure out which company, what is their pattern, and then go and do a couple of those mock tests, which will find abundant online so that you are familiar with them. When the day arrives, you are not caught off guard. That's all about it. Okay? Clear? Then we go to the one which is the most dreaded part of the process, which is called group discussion. How many of you like group discussion? How many of you have ever appeared for a group discussion? Remember, it's another criteria for the company. 20, I have to arrive at 5 to interview. I have appeared. Fish market, absolutely right. Rohit is most participative of the lot. Huh? So yes, it's an absolute fish market. I hated it at my time. And I remember, like, obviously, like over years, and then I used to tell my TA head, then when he would go for campus placement processes, I said, are you conducting GD? He says, yeah, yes, I'll conduct. I say, why? Because I hate them. Okay, sir has a question to ask.
Mr. Shashwat Srivastava has some question. Shashwat, now you're allowed to ask questions to the ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, sir. Sir, actually, I raised hand for that. Ma'am asked no that if someone has appeared for group discussion or not. So I raised hand for that. Sir, ma'am, when I was not in CMA, but when we were in BCom, so in BCom also we have campus placements after third year. So Wipro came in third year in our BCom. I've done my BCom from Lucknow University.
Okay.
So that I was shortlisted for an interview, and then GD round was there, and then the interviewer asked us to tell the topic for that GD was that we were supposed to tell them the 3 best moments of our life till now. So we were 18 students and 3 got shortlisted for that. So in that we were supposed to tell that what were the 3 best moments and what were the 2 worst moments in our life, which we will never forget, and we have achieved something from that. We have learned something from that.
Right. Now I'll tell you the flavor of the kind of topics you guys are going to get now, because now you are like professionally qualified, right? So remember the topics which I was saying, know the world, right? Right from saying Gen Z protest to like AI impact on business. Remember, in generic topics, those are the typical topics that you are going to get. And therefore, I was telling you that read about those topics and have your view. Because in group discussions, you are airing your views, right? So remember, that's why I said know the world. So your topics would be could be business case, where they'll give you a 1-pager. They'll ask you to read the business case and they'll say, start discussing this. All right. And in your case, it would be mostly number driven. Production year 1, production year 2, then suddenly it fell. What could be the probable causes? How can you fix it? How can you do an audit around this? Blah, blah, blah. All right. It could be one typical case point. Second are the topics which are the world topics, like, what is the solution for the Iran crisis? Oh yeah, there's no right answer to that. But as I said, the purpose, now remember, each round has a very distinct purpose to it. All right, like group discussion, why do companies conduct group discussion? I mean, fish market it becomes, but nobody wants to see who's the loudest in that fish market. No company is interested in that, right? Because if a group gets loud, trust me on that, the entire group gets disqualified. Okay, so it's not about saying who speaks the most and who speaks the loudest. A group discussion purpose is simple. They want to hear that a person has a structured thought process about a topic. Like I said, the topic is solution to Iran war. All right. So you have a thought process around it, and the person is able to communicate it effectively with a group. All right. Now in a group, everybody is in a rush to communicate because they say the time is only 30 minutes. There are 10, 12, 15 of you. Arey yaar, mujhe to samay nahi milega. So let me just jump. All right. And start talking. And that's when it becomes a fish market. But for GT preparation, remember there are 2-3 things to that. The important thing, what the recruiter is looking for is clarity of the thought process. I have a view about something or I have crunched the data, and so I have an answer, right? I have an approach to an answer. That's first thing that I'm checking for in people. 2 is the communication skills, right? Which is not talking over others, like talking others down, but like communicating my thing to the group. All right. And the third most important thing is confidence, because most of the people get rattled in a fish market, isn't it? मैं बोलूंगा ही नहीं, सब तुम लोग हल्ला मचा लो. We can do, isn't it? And trust me, that's a very fair approach, honestly. So I'll tell you. So when I was appearing for my summer internship with Godrej, like 25 years ago, my GD was a fish market. All right, and I just decided to stay quiet. And then towards the end, because remember, the recruiter who has come here is not enjoying fish market either. They're making note of every person sitting in that room, right? And the person sitting in the room, he said, hey, you didn't speak. Would you like to summarize this discussion? And I summarized the discussion. Okay. And so I spoke for a minute, and I was the only one in the group who got shortlisted. All right. So it's not talking a lot which really matters. What you are talking really matters. All right. So structured thought process, your views about things is something which is the most important dimension of these kind of group discussions, etc. So be very prepared on that. Give yourself time, allow others also to speak, because common mistakes, right? And I'm not going to tell that, because trust me, you're going to find a lot of information about this on internet itself. Like, you do group discussion do's and don'ts, and you'll get whole list of them. So I'm not going to waste a lot of time on that. But remember, I'm here to tell you a recruiter's perspective, right? So know the perspective of the recruiter, that when he walks in a group discussion, what is he or she looking forward to, right? He's looking forward to a structured thought process, communication skills, listening abilities, because half the time I have thought of a point और मैं तो उसको बोल के रहूंगा, बाकी और क्या बोल रहा है मुझे उससे मतलब नहीं है. I'll cut him and I'll make my point. I mean, the person sitting in the room who's observing you is observing all of it. All right. So be very graceful in your group discussion, right? And say things which are worth speaking out, not for the sake of speaking. For Ty's sake, stay quiet if it is just not making sense to you. All right. Remember, the loudest pitch does not always win. Panel will always remember the person who listened, person who built on an idea, and who stayed very sharp under pressure. All right. These are the things that the recruiters are looking at, not about the person who spoke for 10 minutes out of the 30-minute GD. Clear? But why this 1 month prep is important is the reason, the kind of topics that you will get. And therefore, I said brush up on your technical stuff, and more importantly, brush up on what is happening around you. Clear about it? Remember, this funnel drops very sharply. So like typically 200, to select 2 people, typically a funnel would be of 200 people. So each of these filters are therefore important. All right. And therefore, like, I'm sure like your teachers would have harped on for years, saying why the CGPI or CQPI, whichever way you call it, is most important, because that is the first filtering criteria. But that is not the only thing which wins the game for you. Remember that. All right. Because people think, acha yaar, mera to top-notch grade aaya, mera to hui jayega. Not really. Or like, I have been like not like great with my CGPI, decently well, but not the greatest one. That is not diminishing your chances at all. Because how you conduct yourself through this process, what really determines the success. वरना किसी को interview or process करने की जरूरत नहीं थी ना. CGPI देख के I would just hire, send out the offer letters based CGPI. So this whole like thing which is happening is for a reason. So remember, everybody has like a very fair chance through the process. So that was the third thing which we discussed about group discussion. Then comes the holy grail, which I'm sure like Hemendra sir and bunch of other people will make you ready for, which is about how to crack the technical interview. That is the make or break, right? Because that is what you're going to do. So when I say technical interviews, companies can do anything between 1 to 3 rounds of technical interviews. So be prepared for that. It's a grueling process, right? So like it could be round 1, round 2, round 3. You can have 2 people sitting together and questioning, putting up questions for you, or one-on-one. It could be anything. All right. But the most important round, because remember, in this whole hiring process, every round has a weightage. All right. Till group discussion, it's more of filtering criteria. You're not getting weightages for that. But from technical interview onwards, you get scores for it, which they are making a note of. Like somebody is getting 6 on 10 in first technical round, somebody is getting 7 on 10 in second technical round. They aggregate the score when they do the final shortlisting. So each round is important, and the companies start assigning scores to each one of you during the process. All right. Few companies also take the score of GD, but most of the companies will only use it for a filtering criteria. So your CV, your aptitude or written test, and GD are the 3 shortlisting criteria, shortlisting rounds. All right. Weightages and the scores are given in the interview rounds, which is typically your 2 technical rounds and 1 HR round, and all 3 of them will carry weight. Clear about it? And therefore, for this technical round, I can give you one advice. Do not try to remember all the 5 points about a theory. You should know one practical application of that theory. Everybody wants people who can apply the knowledge to a business scenario. All right. It's okay if you remember 3 points out of 5 of particular theory, as long as you have a practical application for that. So technical interviews are only about 2 things. All the knowledge that you have gathered doing all these papers, their business application is what people are going to check for. And two, they are going to come after you for the articleship that you guys have done, because that's the solid work experience that you have, right? So 60% of the conversation is going to be about your articleship. 40% is going to be about the technical things, every paper that you have read. And as I said, from the CV, they pick it up. Somebody writes, my strength area is taxation. They'll say, chalo, abhi ke upar puchte hain. All right. If you are lucky or unlucky, it also depends on the panel which is coming. Because panel, when a company is sending panel, there are people coming from different business areas, right? In your different functional areas. And तुम्हारी lottery किसके साथ लगी, that's your luck. But broadly, people pick up from your resume and they'll start asking you. They'll say, oh, in which paper did you score the highest? And then you will proudly tell one paper and they'll say, okay, chalo, fir hum log isi ke upar baatein karte hain. All right. So you can bring the conversation to the point of harping on certain things, which you know will open up the interview for you. So you will say, you'll write in the CV, and then when you're telling about yourself, remember I said first question they'll ask is, tell me something about yourself. That tell me about something about yourself, you can guide the entire discussion around that. What you say in that can guide the conversation. You tell in that 1 minute saying, you know what, I found the toughest paper to be like, business analysis. But after that, I picked up this course and I'm really good with this BI tool. They say, great, let's start talking about that. And therefore, that opening is so important that so much I was stressing saying, wo likho, yaad karo, or prepare karo in the front of a mirror, because that opens up the conversation for you. Clear about it? So interview ke liye, technical interview ke liye, remember, not just know the technical concepts, also know the application of those concepts. You may or may not have done it, but it's more about saying, I know this concept and now I know how would it get applied in a particular business scenario. That gets you ready. Be ready, because you're all going to face that question. Par aap jo bata rahe ho, wo to AI tool bhi ab kar sakta hai. So why do I need people like you? All right, it's going to come. It's become a cliched question, but it is going to come. Okay, so the answer is more around saying, broadly, how would you use AI to your advantage, right? That is more what people are trying to understand. So stay relevant. How would you stay relevant to an organization in the age of AI is what they are trying to gather. So your smartness, your subject matter knowledge, all that comes in handy during this round, right? And brush up your articleship. That's like, there's no way, kuch nahi bhi kiya tha, tab soch lo kya karte ho us samay pe, okay? But what you did, the impact you created, what you learned, and most importantly, where all you failed. All those are important dimensions of that. Clear? So think through, because there are times like, I've seen people, I've interviewed people and I've cleared those people and say, that time when I did, it didn't occur to me, but now in hindsight, I believed if I had done it this way, it would have been a better approach. And people generally appreciate that. All right. So it's not about showing yourself as a Shah Rukh Khan in every conversation. I've been there, done all, and I know everything. Doesn't matter. And therefore, my first word was authenticity. Know yourself as a person, you will come through, because what people want is sincerity, right? So, but have that thought process. So remember, because that's what is going to come. It's no longer Viva, where people ask theoretical questions. Clear? And as I was calling out, business tools are very, very important. People expect people to come. So in this round, you will get tested on that. People come with laptop, with they'll give you a data set and they'll say, I expect you to do that. So be ready for those practical questions on ERP packages, data visualization tools, etc. Those things are going to come in handy. Advanced Excel is the most common one. Wo nahi aata to yaar seekh lo, abhi you guys still have 1 month. That is most important. Take. So that's more about the technical interview. The thing is simple. Go with confidence and learn to say, ye nahi aata. It's okay. Nobody, not a single person who's coming to have this discussions with you is expecting you to know everything. So instead of trying to fib through it, कुछ नहीं आता तो कुछ try कर लेता हूँ, जो नहीं आता बता दो. Oh, you know what? This one, I'm sorry, but I won't be able to. I don't know. No? That's very okay to say that. Because as I was calling out, the people who come to recruit you have been through the same journey. So it's not that you are the first one going for the hiring process or placement process. All of us have been through that. So people know when somebody is nervous, people know when somebody is fibbing, people know when somebody is genuine about it. So be your genuine self. That's most important. And trust me, nervous you won't be if you have done this 1 month ka prep. Then that day it just breezes. All right. So panic management nahi karna hai. Strategic readiness chahiye aap log ko. And this 1 month is meant only for that. Make use of the entire thing that your institute has so kindly created for you guys, right? Hum log ke samay ye sab nahi hota tha. All right. You guys have got a whole lot of support system which is in place. This 1 month is a great time to get ready for that. Right? Challenge. Now we'll go to the 5th round. Now, sir has a question.
I don't have any question. I just want to put, ma'am said कि technical questions होंगे, and you all are interested in yesterday's conversation. You said if I am applying for a costing department or cost and budget department, so you have to clearly mention in your CV that whether you understand the process of manufacture, understanding the flow of the product or the efficiency of the product, the capacity utilization. But you have to show that you have gone through it. And don't just put it as a theoretical part. Just put an example that I have done that costing or pricing of a coins made by the SPMCIL or any other organization for which you have worked for. Then that will put an impression on the interviewer, so that he opens a question for you. Let me ask on this. So be confident कि जो भी आप लिख रहे हैं वो आपको आता भी हो, उसका practical application भी हो. That I want to share. मैम मैंने आपको बीच में इसलिए लिखा so that they थोड़ा इन लोगों के बीच में relate कर सके, because they have done their internship in costing and all. So now it's again over to you, ma'am.
What you write in CV and what you say in that 1 minute, tell me about yourself, that sets the tone of this entire discussion. Right? So it's for you actually. Never think, यार ये वो पता नहीं क्या पूछेगा. Actually, you have to take to the interview to a point where he'll ask what you want him or her to ask. And it's with you. Remember that. For technical interview, it's very simple in terms of what you are saying. It just sets the tone, because everybody wants to. And remember one thing, everybody who's interviewing you is giving you a chance. Nobody is here to reject you. Everybody wants to select you. All right. Now, why should I select you? You have to give that person only one reason. And that one reason you can create. So therefore, nobody is expecting you to know everything. Right. But तुम मुझसे किस चीज पे पूछो, right? Which area I want you to ask me on? What is my strength? That you know. And that is why I started off saying know yourself. All right. Know that strength. Let your CV talk about that strength. As sir rightly said, articleship किया था. अगर अच्छा किया था, you should know it inside out, and it should come. It has to take 60-70% of your CV, because I'll read it, and as a human, I'll start asking questions around that. Right. So questions are not coming from Mars and Saturn. Questions are coming from your resume. Questions are coming from what you have told to the interviewer about yourself. So it's in your hand what you want him to ask. Clear? So learn to guide the conversation so that you get a chance to speak about your strength areas. And therefore, the genuineness of the CV is so important. The authenticity of what the work you have done is so important. All right? So ये तो था technical वाला. And technical, as I said, is like most important. But technical तक पहुंचने के लिए all this filtering you have to clear. So इसलिए every step of the process therefore becomes important for you. Okay? And then we come to the last part of the interview process, which is what? HR interview. Where half the people will say, पता नहीं क्या पूछते हैं ये लोग. So now remember one thing. What is the purpose of this round? Because I said for every step of the process, you need to know why the company is doing this process. So for every step now we know, right? Why they're doing what they're doing. GD mein, this is what they're checking. In technical interview, this is what they're checking. What they're checking in HR when interview is simple. Do you really fit in that company or not? All right, because not everybody is cut out for every place. So it's not about like whether I'm good enough or not good enough. In this round, what they're trying to do is that because every company has got its set of, it's a working mechanism, right? Certain companies want very disciplined people, right? There are certain companies who want people who come with a lot of innovative thought process. To each his own. Every company is different. In this HR interview round, broadly what the recruiter is trying to assess is whether you are a culture fit for the organization or not. And whether you are picking up this company for the right reasons or not. And therefore, there are three universal questions you are going to face in HR interview. Tell me something about yourself. Why this course, CMA? And third, why this company? All right. And your answer, these are the most hackneyed questions. Har koi ye sawal puchega, but your answer can make it the most unique answer which is there. All right. And therefore, in तीन सवाल का जवाब सोचो, and सोचो from your perspective, not Googling and saying which is the best answer for this one. Why you wanted to do CMA? Why you wanted to be a CMA professional? All right. And the recruiter is not expecting answers like, I have a burning passion for numbers. I mean, सबको पता है किसी को नहीं होता है. All right. So what is the real reason? Why I picked up? Because they want to understand your thought process of making career choices. That's what they are trying to assess in that interview round. All right. So why I made this choice? So I have my own reasons. The reason is very simple. There are people who will tell you saying, hey, you know what, I assess 5 things. I realized this one financially made more sense for me. Or I had people in my family to guide me on this. All right. Yeah, it could be that. And there could be very fancy answer like my son decided to pursue law because he liked the series Suits. It could be anything, right? But the point is, whatever is your authentic reason should come through. So therefore, these 3 questions, सबको मालूम है कि आना ही है. Why CMA? Why this company? And why this company is very important. Sir, I believe I can add a lot of value to your company. वो करने के लिए there are 20,000 people already in the company. Why would you be an asset to the company is what the company needs to know. All right. So for that, you need to know the company. Right? Understand the business performance of certain years. Understand what are the product lines. Understand about the company, because that is when you are authentic, when you are answering why this company. So show them that you have reviewed the business model, you have seen their products, and the recent sector news for this particular company for which you're attending the process, go prepared with that. All right. So that is what really happens in the last one. Remember, in the last round, in HR interview round, there are no right or wrong answers. It's the authentic answers and the sincere answers which come through. Clear?
Clear.
तो इतना ही करना है, ज्यादा कुछ करना भी नहीं है. As you guys know, जो करना था तुम लोगों ने पढ़ लिया, बहुत सारा पढ़ लिया. Right? Now it's just the time to show the world that तुम्हें आता है, and you are ready for the world. That's like most important. And remember one thing, any of these placement processes, like different companies, just 1 month invest in yourself in getting ready for the placement process. All right. Every company is like thoda difference hoga, right? Every company at the end is 30-60 minutes per company for whichever you are going. Just spend 30 to 60 minutes before that a particular company's process to know about the company. Clear? And remember the holy principle of placement process. If you're selected, it's great. If you're not selected in the first, second, third company, it doesn't matter. Why it doesn't matter is, therefore, there are so many companies out there. All right. So you are going to get into the company which makes maximum sense for you. But after every interview process, during this journey, try to recollect and say what went right and what went wrong in the process. That's very important because that prepares you for the next process. है ना? So knowing that is so crucial कि मैंने क्या सही किया था, अगर नहीं हुआ तो क्या गलत हुआ था, कुछ तो गलत हुआ था. No point. Your parents and friends will tell you नहीं तुमने सब अच्छा किया होगा, it's okay, अगली में हो जाएगा. It's not that. Right? Important thing is to know, okay, it didn't happen. Why it didn't happen? Because that makes you better ready for the next process. And that's important. So keep emotions out of the process. Nobody is coming to hire you as a human being. Everybody is coming to hire you as a professional. So put your professional foot forward. Don't let emotions play on you, because emotions just make it very hard. All that butterfly sensation, nervousness, all those things, then they start playing out. So think of it like you are appearing for an article ship. Now, as simple as that. It's the same thing. It's the same set of people. It's the same company. Nothing is changing. It's in your head, just that now it is the first salaried job that just makes it so different. Otherwise, it's the normal thing, normal company, normal people. So just go and approach it the way you would do any other thing in your life. Okay? Now we are at 12:15 by my clock. And therefore, any questions that any one of you wants to ask, anything that you are expecting from me, which I have not covered, wo bhi pooch lo. And if I believe something crucial has been missed out, we can always connect one-on-one later on this. ठीक है ना? Clear hai?
Ma'am, may I go first?
Yes, Virangi.
Okay, so ma'am, I'm somewhat of a person who has a 1.5 year of experience in like portions. Like I did a 1 year of job, then I did not work for a year and a half to prepare for the exams. Then there was some issue. I had to do a 6-month job again, and then I left it again for this term's exam, and luckily I cleared it. But the problem is I don't have the hardcore experience that a CMA article has. Okay, I've not worked in a cost accounting firm. I've worked in companies and I've claimed exemptions based on those things. And I want to switch on to like proper costing job or budgeting job or pricing job that actually aligns with the professional course. So my issue is my CV does not speak of that. My CV clearly shows a finance background. And now how do I shift the conversation from what I have already done from my past to where I want my future to go, because this is a thing I struggled again when I was searching for a 6 month job for that aligned with the course again. And I was rejected on the fact that okay, if we are hiring a fresher, we will take the semi-qualified intermediates.
Correct. Okay. So how do you share? Okay, this is very specific. I'm not sure if it is for a common interest or not. So what I would suggest is all of you start writing questions, because Vedangi, this we can discuss one-on-one as well. I don't think it's like for the common this one,
Okay,
right?
ma'am.
But
Yes,
there's
ma'am.
a clear way of doing that, and there are only two tips for that. One, know the core subjects really well then. All right, because you have to make your intent come through. That while it not might be appearing in the like the jobs that I have picked up, etc. But this is something which I know so well, because what I lack in experience is what I made up in theory is what is the point that has to really come through in your conversations, and there are ways of bringing it in the conversation which I can tell you. Check.
Okay, ma'am. And one more question, if you don't mind. I know I'm not giving chance to others.
Vedangi, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
You have asked one question. Let
Okay.
me give the opportunity to other one. Dinkar
Sure.
Sharma has a question. Ma'am, should, and please switch off your videos. Huh? Ma'am, should the answer be in latest to earliest order or earliest to latest timeline? For that, tell me about yourself.
Tell me about yourself. I've got nothing to do with timeline.
क्योंकि तुम तो पूछो ना हो तुम तो पूछो ना हो चुप चुप खा जाओ स्पीकर को म्यूट पे कर ले वरना तेरे दोस्त
Yeah. So tell me about yourself starts with your education. So broadly, start off a simple thing about your 10th and intermediate, right? If you have got great scores in 10th and intermediate, you will start off with that, or you can start off with your graduation piece and saying what you have done in your graduation, and then why you have decided for this course, the internship, and then what you want to build of your career, but all in 60 minutes. It's called elevator pitch. So you have to prepare a very solid script for yourself for 60 seconds.
Shashank Sharma has question. I work in taxation and wants to work in FP. Shashank, that I will answer in the later part of the session. If you want to switch from one department to another one, or taxation to costing or costing to FPA, I will let you know. Gargi Latwal has raised hand. Yes, Gargi.
Good afternoon to all of you.
Yeah, hi, Gargi.
Hello. Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, Gargi.
Yeah. Good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon, sir, and good afternoon to everybody. My question is that actually I had an experience in taxation. So let's suppose a company give me the chance for any of the like finance background, and I'm also thought of to change my field right now. So at that time, if I sit for the interview and they will ask me you had an experience in taxation and why you have chosen in a finance background, why you want to change that particular field. So how do I have to answer particular this question? And if I want one more thing, that if I really want to in any not in a campus or in any other ways, how do I find that this is the job that I want to do or not? This is the particular field I want to work ahead or not. Let's suppose I'm in a taxation, but I'm not feeling it. Now I have to switch.
Yeah. I'll give you the answer to that, right? No, and this is for all of you. It's a very important one. So first thing is asking that question, saying ki, how do I make the person understand that I worked in taxation, as in my articleship, but I want. That's the answer. Exactly what I said. Know yourself. All right. Why do you want to do that? That you have to answer. So you have to become clear, because reason is one, I have done taxation and I have realized that this is not something to my liking. I would rather give short to something else. Right? That is one way of putting it across, that why you are shifting it. Because what I have done, I have experience of that and I want to experience more. Two, as a general principle for all of you, remember two things in life. You guys have read a lot of subjects and you believe that you are a taxation purpose, you are an FP&A person, etc., etc. You are none of them. You are a fresher. All right. So when companies come, they really pick you up for your aptitude and attitude. All right. And in aptitude could be in any of the spaces. Two things happen from there on. One, company gives you a chance to pick up get into the space that you really want to get in, like taxation per se. Or the company would come and say, hey, currently I have opening in this space, but most of the companies and all these big companies that you guys are getting in allows everyone or expects everyone to switch departments also after a few years. That's how you grow as a professional. All right. So it's not always that I get into taxation and my whole life and Pepper has come again. I think this time to say bye to all of you. Pepper, move, baby. Go. Move. Move. Okay. Move. So, right. So it's not about, don't get too hassled about the fact that you don't have experience in one area in which you want to get a job. Companies are very open about it. Nor there is something which says that if you start your first job in one thing, you can never change stream after that. Those are always the opportunity, and people really look forward to it. Companies really want people to do that as they grow in their career. All right.
I want to add one more thing. Let's suppose, as you have said that I'm always being like a fresher to them, and in a later head, I have seen like most of my friends like been in a company or in a one particular field, and they can't able to change it after 1.5 years or 2 years. They can't able to change their particular field. Is it possible for a person, like if I had an experience, is it very in a practically, I don't know about the practical word, that it is possible to, if I after the 2 years of an experience as a CMA, then I have to change my change. It can be easily for me.
Easily, because all these big companies also have internal job posting system. It's not that you have to ask your boss and the boss can recommend you. So if you're, and it totally depends again on the company. Remember that, like, because if you think of the big four audit firms, or you are talking about large companies, most of them will have a IJP process, which is internal job posting, where you can apply and you can get through. And there are like several cases which happen, like it's a norm in the companies, etc. All right. So it never stops a person. So it's never that, for example, I'll give you my example. So in HR also there are multiple fields, right? So I started off with recruitment. Doesn't mean that like I did only recruitment throughout my career. As I said, in each of these professional courses, the expectation is that you will take exposure in different areas over a period of time. That's the whole idea. So there would be no dearth of that. So don't worry if you're not getting it in your first job. All right. You can always get it in the second company, in the shift within the same company, etc. The world is very wide open that way.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am.
So anyone has any question?
Yes, sir, I do have one.
When we any questions from anyone?
I think Priya has a question.
Yes, sir. Am I audible to everyone?
Yes. Priya Tyagi has some questions. Priya.
Hello, everyone. Ma'am, I have one particular question. As you said, tell me about yourself is the thing that impresses the interviewer in your first impression. So I want to ask you that the structure that you have told us, that you should start with your qualification, your recent experience, and what you want to pursue in future, and what you are like. So I want to know that everyone is going to have the same structure and same explanation about their. Tell me about yourself. So as an interviewer, what the interviewer is looking for that differentiate ourselves from everyone else.
That's what I called authenticity. Okay. So yes, as I said, they are universal questions. The answer is what makes the question unique and the person unique, because everybody has very different life journey. So yes, everybody can keep on saying, oh, I have done my BCom from this place and then I did my articleship in this place and I want to become like a good CMA professional in my life. Now, nobody's interested in that. Therefore, when I said, my first thing which I said, know yourself and start preparing for it, become self-aware. Because what you write for that 1 minute thing, and I think it's a very interesting exercise that you can do, right? Write it down for yourself and then read it for yourself and start sharing with each other. It's not that sabka answer ekdam kuch matlab bahut alag hoga, but the sincerity of the answer comes through. All right. It's like somebody who has been doing hiring for years. It's very easy for a recruiter to figure out saying who's genuine and who's just taken it out of the AI tool. All right. So how you deliver is as the content, and the content has to be authentic to you. That is more important. So think through it like you this 60, as I'm calling it, this elevator pitch is the most important part of the process. Spend time in creating it and curating it for yourself.
Okay, ma'am, get it. Thank you.
Anyone else? Shashank Sharma, have you any questions? Prerna ma'am, how to answer question reading career gap due to failure in exam and attempts? And it did
That is
not.
exactly what you have to tell. That's precisely what you have to. That's what I was calling it. See, when I say authentic, like sincere, don't try to create a story around that. All right. Now, there could be a very genuine reason of why I took a gap. And there's no harm in taking a gap in your career. During studies, during work experience, anytime a person, it's not a crime to have a gap. All right. The way if you're very sheepish about it, you're feeling very sorry about it, that comes through. Right. If you're matter of fact about it, it's great because like you have to tell why I failed or failed is one scenario possible or a gap. I took a gap here. Now, and be honest about it. Like, I didn't study in the year and yeah, so therefore like I could not clear and I had to repeat. And that was a mistake that I learned from. And if you look at my further performance in academics, you will realize that I have made up for that. I have taken my learning out of it. That's a very fair answer, which any recruiter would buy. All right. But like saying, मैं बीमार हो गया था, घर में मम्मी का पैर टूट गया था, इसलिए मैं एग्जाम नहीं पाया, the recruiter sees through that. Okay. So authenticity and sincerity. Remember that every answer needs to carry that.
Shashwat is raising hand. Shashwat.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Be specific and be quick, Shashwat. Raman Gupta ji ka question le lete hain. Raman.
Yes, good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
My question was, how can we approach senior staff in the industry for referrals or, better understand the hiring process as we talked about?
So there are two ways. We were discussing about off-campus also. See, best way is start exploring through LinkedIn. All right. So why I was initially calling out that know the companies that you really want to apply in. For example, you know that you are good with analysis, financial analysis grid, and therefore like GCCs make more sense for you. Say, for example, then what you'll do is that you will go to LinkedIn, you'll find the people who are in those companies. You can't be sending out requests to everyone. Best is if you find an alumni from in that place, somebody like whom you know, or the recruiter of that company. You can make a connect through LinkedIn, and then you can start getting in touch with people. Always really works best for any off-campus or anything is do check on Naukri, because Naukri, every company by principle would be posting things over there, but most importantly on LinkedIn. And in LinkedIn, when they post job, applying it and getting a call may or may not always be a possibility, but connecting with a recruiter of that company and then sharing your profile really helps you to get a foothold in terms of the process.
Now, Shashank Sharma's question, like some of the participants, or candidates, you should, right, have a year of experience, they are applying, and I have not. So it is a high probability that the company will appoint them. How can I compete with them? Well, a company generally prefer a highly experienced. That too depends on company's requirement also.
There are two parts to that. Pehla, somebody having 1 year of experience in the same space vis-a-vis you having none is not much of a deal breaker. All right. Yes, there's no doubt in terms of saying that companies prefer people who come with some work experience. And in this case, articleship is considered as a work experience. All right. Why this need is simple, because they believe that the person will take lesser time to to get into the corporate mindset. It takes lesser time for the person to settle in the new job. All right, but it's not like a whole lot of deal breaker. If there's a lot of experience required, then company anyway won't be coming and hiring freshers, right? Because technically, up till 1 year of work experience, everybody is considered as a fresher.
So my reply is कि जब हम articleship करते हैं, इसीलिए कहा जाता है articleship is done with a great amount of sincerity, punctuality, and learning process. Whatever you have learned during your internship, just put it in your CV. And that is counted as experience. But
and remember one thing. I'm sorry.
Please.
I was saying, and remember one thing, if company is really only looking at people with experience, they will never shortlist your profile itself. All right. But if the profile has been shortlisted, then you and the person with some amount of work experience are no different in the eye of the company. All right. The process will decide whether they believe that you know as much as the person with 1 year experience or not, in terms of your knowledge and in terms of application of that, and your articleship shows that.
Trisha is asking what is the shortlisting criteria of companies. Am I audible, ma'am?
Yeah.
There is a question from Trisha.
Huh.
What is the shortlisting criteria of companies?
Okay, so every company has its own set of criteria. It could be very scientific, where they assign points to different things. What are the typical things which will make a company shortlist a profile is one, and like this, a no-brainer, which is like the score of the individual in the performance, the academic performance of the individual. Few companies will look at the performance only of your professional course, but whole lot of company, when there are a whole lot of applications, they'll put criteria about the 10 score, 12 score, graduation score, professional score, the kind of companies in which you have done the articleship, that also the companies give weightage to. So these are the typical things basis which the CV gets shortlisted. And also if they have got very specific opening, for example, a company wants to hire only in the space of financial planning, then in the CV they will call out that keyword, that who has written that this element is there in the articleship, not that in the CV anywhere you have written and the company will consider it, but in the articleship, if they find the experience to be relevant, then they will give weightage to that.
So some of the technical questions which are related to your articleship or related to some specific department, that I will answer in the later part of the session when we finish up the session of ma'am. So any other, I think we have taken almost all questions from everyone. If anyone has left out, we feel sorry for that. Ma'am, what certificate one should do to make the CV strong? There are so many courses launched by ICMI, that is Advanced Excel course, DISA course, Forensic Audit course, Concurrent Audit course. So you can go and visit the website and you will get to know which courses you want to do. And as ma'am very clearly said, you must be very clear, you must be very honest with yourself, what exactly you want. And accordingly, you decide which course you want to pursue for or add on. CMA itself is a great degree, but if you want to add something, so add accordingly to the profile you want to select in future.
Correct. And like have your association membership ready, because companies also do like a background check and then they do check with associations, etc. So ensure that you are a part of that. Yeah.
Very correct point, man. It is that will be going to be a major issue, because nowadays companies are asking for ACMA or FCMA, means associate cost accountant or a fellow. So you have to take a membership. Many of the people are saying that there is no need of a membership. Then how company gets to know that you are a member of ICMI? Till yet you are just a qualified CMA, but you are not a member of ICMI. So this is a unique ID. You have to take this. So my request to everyone to apply for a membership before 30th September. And that will help you in interview and shortlisting also. I think I'm right, ma'am?
Yes.
So it's 12:37. I think we should close the session with a formal vote of thanks. Thank you, ma'am, for such a wonderful and insightful session. मेरे हिसाब से today's session is much more than just a discussion on interview. You gave our young CMA participants an opportunity to understand what happens, what actually happening on the other side of interview table, what interviewer is just thinking about. And you have explained very well about the 5 steps, about the CVs, what preparation one needs to do, about the communication, about your behavioral questions. Certainly help the participants. And I, on behalf of everyone, want to thank ma'am for everything and for sparing a valuable time. I request everyone, don't leave the session. After ma'am will leave, I have something to guide you related to your CV, related to your technical insights, which you have to mention in the CV. So thank you so much, ma'am, for sparing
Thank you so much.
time.
No, thank you so much for this opportunity, and it was wonderful connecting with all of you. Wishing you all the very best, not just for the placement season, but also for your careers ahead. So go and make your institute proud, and like ensure that your course gets all the love and affection in the world that it deserves. Thank you. Right.
Thank you, ma'am. So, if anyone has any questions, just open your video one by one. I can answer. If you have done your article shift, what need to mention, how technical qualification need to be mentioned in CV. If anyone has any question, you can. Else, we are going to close the session. And please put your feedbacks.
So like we have a experience in the taxation and going for the job in the FP&A and the budgeting role and costing role. So when we presenting ourselves like in front of the interview, they will ask the you have no experience for the costing and FP&A profile. So how can I present myself like I will be the fit for the job and work hard and we will experience in other field also.
Great. Shashank, this is a very general question which I think everyone wants to ask. Day or tomorrow कभी ऐसा जरूर होता है कि हम switch करना चाहते हैं. So as our speaker said, you have to be honest with yourself. You better know than me why you want to switch from FPA to finance or FPA to costing or costing to vice versa, all this. So you have a better answer. But like मान लेते हैं कि हम फाइनेंशियल प्लानिंग और उसमें काम कर रहे थे या बजटिंग डिपार्टमेंट में कर रहे थे and want to switch in the costing department, then you have to show your metal that you have that much amount of knowledge about the manufacturing sector or about the costing. Then they will ask for, because just throw the ball in their court on the strongest point you have. So you have to prove that you have a strong hand in costing department or costing. Correct?
Yes, sir. Thank you. But when we are going for the interviews and there are the many experienced person like and the companies will prefer them like in FP&A profile in GST.
Prashant, if you are a fresher, your internship is considered as experience. If company is requiring, when they float a vacancy, they write 3 to 5 years or 6 years or 7 years. It means they are not requesting you or you are not eligible to participate. When they are requiring that a freshers may apply or 0 to 3 years of experience, you are eligible to apply. And they will consider at par to everyone. And your internship, your what we say training and what you have learned and how independently you have handled the audits or any assignment relating to costing or pricing, that will put an impression on the interviewer. Anyone else? Minimum package we should expect. Seeing the last year patterns, our highest package was around 28.5 lakhs from PFC, and the last package will go to around 9.5 lakhs. Or that too depends. Just work on sharpening your skills.
Hello.
Anyone else have any questions?
Hello, sir.
Yes,
Good afternoon,
Radhika.
sir.
Ravi has some questions. Good afternoon.
Sir, shall I speak
Yes, Ravi,
after
please
Radhika?
ask question.
Sir. Sir,
No, you speak,
as you
then we
said,
will take the question from Radhika.
sir, as you said, before 30th September, we should be ready for everything, technical and non-technical everything. Sir, probably will start from 30 or ESTP training will commence.
Ravi, your voice is not coming clearly. Am I audible to everyone? Radhika has some question. Dinkar Sharma has asked, what is the expected ASTP? That will be informed by institute. One thing which is very important, which our speaker, our ma'am said, that nowadays companies are asking for membership number. I just share one practical case. One of our member who is selected for CFO and he passed in the year 1997, and when he get appointed selected for CFO, then company legal department asked, if you are a member of ICMI, you must have a membership number, and he has not. And then he get panic and he just contacted me. What should I do? Then we institute has issued a membership number. Why I am sharing this? कि sometimes हमको ये लगता है कि membership हम क्यों लें. पहला इसलिए ले कि वो कभी भी जरूरत पड़ती है और कंपनीज पूछ रही हैं क्या उनके पास बेसिस है कि आपने सीएमए के मेंबर है या नहीं. दूसरा इसलिए जिस इंस्टीट्यूट से आप पास हुए, दिस इज योर मॉरल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी टू कि अपने मदर प्रोफेशन के लिए आप उससे जुड़े रहे. और जैसे जुड़े रहेंगे, लॉट मोर पीपल from this field, they are a big shots. Someone are director of finance, some are CMD, some are general manager. So you will be get to relate or discuss with them. Sir, I have already a package of 15.6. What will be the expected price? Ravi, these questions can only be answered by some palmist or astrologer. मतलब how could I tell कि क्या expect कर सकते हैं? The sky is the limit. If company finds you value addition or you are a creator, value creator, then they will go for any extent. So what will be the consequence? One has not filed ASTP form. Placements के लिए ASTP से होके जाना जरूरी है. Any other question from anyone? So we will catch you again on Sunday with one of more speaker from who's here tire company, who is business controller. We will share the link in the group, and please text about the session. Your feedback is much required. I'm not having 3 years of experience to get membership, sir. In case you don't have an experience of getting a membership, you just personally text me. I will give some solution. How can you get it? If anyone has any type of problem in taking membership, just connect with me. और जो क्वेश्चन प्रेरणा ने पूछा है, इस तरह के इश्यूज बहुत सारे लोगों को आएंगे कि उनकी ट्रेनिंग, उनकी मेंबरशिप के लिए जो सर्टेन पीरियड इज रिक्वायर्ड वो नहीं है. सो उसके लिए यू हैव अ नंबर, यू आर अ पार्ट ऑफ दैट ग्रुप. वहां पर आप लिख सकते हैं. मेरा नंबर है, मैं फिर से अपना नंबर टेक्स्ट कर देता हूं. यहाँ पर आप मैसेज कर सकते हैं. आई विल लेट यू नो द एंटायर प्रोसेस ऑफ गेटिंग मेंबरशिप. Or apart from membership, any question related to your job or anything, that's why we are here, and that is the only objective of this readiness program. I have received my membership. Congratulations, Ravi, on getting or being a part of the family. Khushbu has some question. Vedangi Bhatia, we have created a CMA career readiness group. You just share your number to me. I will add to that group. Khushbu, am I audible?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
सर मेरा ये क्वेश्चन है, जैसे कि अभी मैंने आर्टिकलशिप कंप्लीट की है विद जॉब. अभी टोटल मुझे 3 इयर्स हो गए सीए फर्म में. तो अभी मैं 1-2 लोगों से बात कर रही थी. उनका ये रहता है कि तुम पहले अपना चूज करो कि तुम्हें किस लाइन में जाना है. कि आफ्टर सीएमए, अब तुम सीएमए बन गए हो तो एक पर्टिकुलर लाइन को चूज करो. तो अब क्योंकि मैंने हर डोमेन में काम किया है, मैंने बिजनेस वैल्यूएशंस की है, एमआईएस पे काम किया है, एडवांस एक्सेल, इन सब चीजों में काम किया है. इसके अलावा मैंने ऑडिट्स की हैं, टैक्सेशन में है, आईटीआर है, टैक्स ऑडिट सब कुछ है. तो मैं वो एक चीज को कैसे चूज करूँ कि हाँ मुझे फ्यूचर में इसी लाइन में आगे जाना चाहिए. और अगर मैं ऑफ कैंपस के लिए ढूंढ लूँ तो क्या एक सोचूं.
Good to hear about your experience you have earned. Your question is very genuine. What you can do is your CV to my WhatsApp number and then text the question, because if you have done your articleship from a CA firm and you have gained experience in the financial part, and you must explore that part because that is your expertise and you have a good amount of experience in that field. Anna? Anyone else?
Thank you, sir.
So it's time to close the session, and on next Sunday we will meet again on the different how a management accountant thinks. That will going to be one of the finest sessions आपको पता चलेगा. Those who are interested कि हमको कॉस्टिंग वाले में काम करना है, कॉस्टिंग के बारे में सीखना है, how management accountant thinks, how management accountant works. So please do join. On Sunday we will share the link in the group. जो ग्रुप में नहीं जुड़े हैं वो मेरे पर्सनल व्हाट्सएप पे शेयर करें. I will add to that. So till then, goodbye. Thank you so much for everyone for a patience hearing. I hope you get some value addition to that. Please text your feedback. That will motivate me to do those type of programs, and I will continue with the same. Thank you, everyone.